Sup? I have some pretty good news. I have an internet connection again, meaning I can make videos and whatnot. And for that, I think it calls for a celebration. Thankfully, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree added these pretty fireworks, so we can sound these off and enjoy all their different colors. Man, those things sure are pretty. But what if I told you that, in fact, these are not fireworks? That instead, they are what are called perfumes, and rather than being an item like what was in the base game, they are weapons this time around. And what if I told you that they have the capability of brutally one-shotting people? Sounds pretty strong, right? The thing is that the whole moveset is riddled with issues. Let's start by looking at the basic R1. It's slow. And I mean really, really slow. What's crazy is that all of your attacks are going to be slower than they actually seem based on how far away your opponent is. Since the perfume takes a little bit of time to travel through the air, oftentimes when you're trying to properly outspace your opponent, they'll still be able to get away scot-free even when with a normal weapon you would have timed it just fine. Usually when weapons are designed to be this slow, they have other advantages to make up for the fact that they lack so much in the speed department, such as damage or hyper armor. In his infinite wisdom, Miyazaki made sure that the perfume bottles had none of these advantages. For starters, your poise damage is absolutely abysmal on the majority of your attacks. Even very mild amounts of armor are able to effortlessly face tank the majority of your attacks. The combination of no poise damage and also being extremely slow means that no matter how much damage you get on your opponent, you will always be on the back foot after landing an attack on your opponent, if you manage to even do that in the first place. What's truly sad is the damage on all of the different perfumes is not high enough to validate running it despite all of these problems. On dedicated builds for any of the different perfume bottles, you're only going to get damage that simply resembles other options that are also more consistent. For example, in this fight here, I'm using a level 125 character with 80 dexterity using the Fire Spark bottle. I have the Perfume Talisman, and I even have the Fire Boosting Physic, and despite this, my damage is not that great, only usually being around 400 to 500 damage on successful hits. And things don't look too much better for the Chilling bottle and the Frenzy bottle. While they're able to apply Frostbite and Madness respectively, it's so difficult to hit your opponent with these moves that oftentimes you're just not able to get these respective status effects. Otherwise they would be rather decent weapons. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Rolling Sparks is able to one-shot people, with all of its explosions happening right in front of you if you aim at the floor. The problem is that it is so slow that past the first time someone gets hit by it, they realistically should not be hit by it again. Really, the only time someone will realistically get hit by Rolling Sparks after the first time or two is if they're fighting a gank and they get cornered into somewhere, like the end of a cave for example. Or just be really good at the game, like yours truly. What's funny is that the only bottle that can't have Rolling Sparks put on it potentially could become the most widely used in the future, that being the Poison bottle. The Poison bottle's Ash of War looks a bit silly at first, considering that you're just poisoning yourself, but this actually serves a very unique purpose, as being one of the most consistent ways of being able to get the Exaltation bonuses from the Mushroom Crown and the Rot Exaltation Talisman. For a long time now, the way that people would get the astronomical buffs of these exaltations if they weren't running an arcane build, which is easily able to poison people, they would do so by using either meat dumplings or roped fetid pots. The issue with these items has always been either their scarcity or their opportunity cost. Raw meat dumplings are not able to be duplicated with other players, and since you only get a little bit less than 40 per playthrough, it really can be taxing to choose to try and use some of these just to be able to get an extra 20 or 40% damage bonus. And while the DLC does give us a way to finally purchase string, this doesn't fix the opportunity cost of using the fetid pots over something more valuable, such as sleep or volcano pots. The hilarious thing about the poison bottle is that you are still able to use the Ash of War and poison yourself even if you don't have the stats to use the weapon properly, meaning that you can throw this on any build and use that buff for, say, an ambush. Another unique quirk of the poison bottle is that it's the only one that does full physical damage, meaning that it's able to get bonuses from things such as Exalted Flesh or the Blue Dancer Charm, for whatever that's worth. To conclude, the perfume bottles generally are not very good in PvP, and rely on very specific situations to be able to land that juicy Ash of War. But you know what? Maybe it's okay that not everything's all that good. Maybe it's fine that they just stay as predominantly PvE weapons, able to do fantastic damage to really big enemies or a whole bunch of really small ones. And with that, I hope you guys have a good 4th of July. Go out there and shoot all of the different perfume sparks that you can think of. Have a good day, everyone. Peace.